So, the 2026 Grammys are in the books, but honestly, the real story isn't just who won. It's this feeling, this buzz, that the biggest night in music isn't about pushing the envelope anymore. It's about playing it safe. So, what does that even mean? Well, let's get right into it.
And this is the take that's really catching fire. The Grammys aren't about music anymore. The argument is that this year, more than ever, the awards went to what was comfortable, what was familiar, not what was truly groundbreaking. It's a pretty bold claim.
Okay, so here's the main idea we're going to be digging into. The whole thesis is that the Grammys were all about validating what's already, approved by the institution. It seems like it was a night that picked comfort over risk every single time.
So what you get is a night that felt less like a celebration of music and more like a mirror, reflecting back the industry's own power structures and politics. It really makes you ask, who are the Grammys actually for these days? Let's look at the evidence, piece by piece.
All right, first up, let's talk about the big one. Our first case study in this whole institutional comfort theory comes from the biggest award of the night, Album of the Year.
And look, on the surface, this was huge. History was made. Bad Bunny's album became the first ever Spanish-language album to win Album of the Year. I mean, that sounds like a massive, revolutionary moment, right? For an artist who is, without a doubt, a global superstar.
So why is everyone talking about this win? Why is it seen as controversial? The big question that popped up almost immediately was, wait a minute, was this really a bold step forward, or was it something else?
And this, right here, this is the core of the debate. On one hand, you have a historic milestone for a global artist. But on the other hand, the argument is that the Grammys were just catching up. They were finally acknowledging a reality they couldn't ignore anymore after years of Latin music dominating everything. So the win felt less like a risk and more like a safe bet on something that was already a sure thing.
Now, this whole theme of predictability, it doesn't stop there. Let's move on to our second case study, which is all about how greatness can start to feel a little, predictable.
I'm talking about Kendrick Lamar. He added even more hardware to his shelf, winning Best Rap Album and sharing Record of the Year. And this win made him the most awarded rapper in Grammy history, 27 wins. That number is just incredible.
But here's the thing. No one is questioning his greatness, obviously. But the conversation is shifting. As one critic put it, his continued dominance at the Grammys has started to feel less like a competition and more like a tradition. The wins are so expected that some people feel it takes the excitement out of the whole thing.
And this leads to this idea of predetermined awards, where a win feels totally guaranteed just based on who the artist is and their reputation with the Academy, not necessarily based on the specific impact of their work that year. It feels more like a coronation than a real competition.
Okay, so this theme of safety doesn't just stop with the music. It actually bleeds into the politics of the night too. Let's dive into our third case study, politics on script.
So the show definitely had its moments of activism. You had Joni Mitchell wearing an Ice Out pin. You had Billie Eilish on stage declaring no one is illegal on stolen land. The ceremony absolutely did not shy away from these big political statements.
But here's where it gets complicated. The question people started asking was this genuine resistance? Or was it more like a carefully curated, safe kind of dissent? I mean, the critique is that these statements are coming from artists who are so big, so untouchable, that there's basically zero career risk for them to say these things. It's activism without stakes.
So once you start connecting these dots, a pretty clear pattern starts to show up, right? It seems like across the board, the Grammys kept rewarding what was familiar and safe.
And you see this pattern reinforced over and over. Song of the Year goes to Billie Eilish, Best Pop Vocal Album to Lady Gaga, even Best New Artist to Olivia Dean, all incredible, established, or institutionally friendly artists. But maybe the most interesting example is the K-pop win. Yeah, a K-pop song finally won its first Grammy, but critics point out that it happened only after the genre was packaged in a way that was super palatable for the mainstream. It wasn't the raw, disruptive K-pop that built the fandom. It was the safe version.
So when you put it all together on a chart like this, the argument for institutional comfort gets pretty strong. For Bad Bunny, it was a safe catch-up. For Kendrick, the traditional choice. For Billie and Gaga, rewarding established prestige. And even the political statements are seen as curated dissent from stars who are already untouchable. The thread is pretty clear.
And look, let's be super clear about something. The controversy isn't saying that the winners were undeserving. Not at all. These artists are amazing. The real point is that the Grammys rewarded familiarity over disruption.
Which leaves us with this huge, lingering question.
In a culture that was literally built on rebellion, rock and roll, hip-hop, you name it, what does it mean when its biggest, most prestigious award is for comfort? What happens when the goal is to be safe? That's the question the 2026 Grammys left everyone thinking about.